girls, grab your beers.
Hey everybody, this is Charlie from Anthrax, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now here's your host.
I am Monty Heath, so one Heath, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
Hey, what's up? It's John from Skillet, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle on Domain Cleveland Radio.
Fasten your seatbelts.
Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns to historic Cruise Stadium. Slipknot, Disturbed, Pantera, The Original Misfits, Evanescence, Limp Bizkit, Judas Priest, Stain, Breaking Benjamin, A Day to Remember, Falling in Reverse, Sleep Token, Rise Again, 311, Seether, Mudvayne, and many more. May 16th through the 19th, Columbus, Ohio. Tickets on sale now at SonicTempleFestival.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle. And real quick housekeeping note, you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble or BitChute or Odyssey, please hit that follow and subscribe button. And if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple, Google, whatever podcast platform you're utilizing, please hit that follow and subscribe button so we can continue to bring you conversations like the one I'm bringing you today. I'm bringing you the word of the Lord.
The Lord.
I'm talking with Lord Nelson today.
Nelson,
man.
that is. They gotta say Nelson, that is.
How are you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great, man. It's great to be here, young man, and thank you for having me once again. It's a pleasure for me. Believe me when I say that. I'm not just saying that because it's what we do. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you very much.
No, I'm happy to have you, man. I'm glad our mutual friend Chris Akin
Yes, sir.
put this connection together, and I was enjoying our talk. We could have kept going on and on before, and I'm like, all right, well, we should get some of this on the air,
Content, indeed.
Yeah, content is king, man. And we got like so much to talk about with your story, but usually when I have somebody on for the first time, I like to get a background. So do you remember originally, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I always knew that I'm going to say that when I was a younger, smaller guy, I was always pretty good at football and fast. And I was like, I'm going to be a receiver. I want to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I want to be Lynn Swann when I was young. Those are the things that I thought, being a military kid, we traveled a few places. So I was just like, what my dad loved the Pittsburgh Steelers. I love the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I always wanted to be a receiver, but I know that my family we always enjoyed music. Music was always in the house, always. My mom and dad played music all the time. So we all loved music, every single one of us. So some of us played in bands and, high school bands and things like that. And then my brother is a DJ. He's been a DJ since, the early 80s. Even when they used to do, like bring shows in and do stuff, just like you were saying, promote shows, bringing down RUN-DMC and all these other groups way back when. So I was there as a young kid seeing all this and being on the side stage when all these artists would come in. And man, then I was like, man, if I ever get an opportunity to do some music, man, RUN-DMC made me want to do rap and write. I've always been able to write. Always. I've always written stories and stuff when I was young in school. That's one thing I would always excel at. But because I just see everything. So I'm so visual. But music's something that I always wanted to do, man. And then finally it happened for me. So it's a great thing.
Yeah. So that childhood imagination,
yes,
that seems to like we're drifting away from these days. But back when we didn't have a lot, and that's all we had. Yes. Like you said, very visual, creating the stories in our heads. I was very similar myself. I found my mom never threw stuff out, and then it got passed on to me. And now I can't throw stuff out, but I see these old like stories that I'd write,
Right.
school. You know, it's just like,
Yes.
man, it's like, you know, I had my own Star Wars trilogy, man. If I could find the right bankroll behind it, you know, get this stuff out there.
Indeed.
But then, now you were saying with the music, you were exposed at a young age, and you know, also being a military brat, you got to travel around and see other places. But where were you at when you said you were side stage, getting to watch the action taking place?
So Fort Jackson, South Carolina, which we lived here for like 5 years, and on Fort Jackson, and man, you know, just going to the teen clubs, going to hang out with my brother. My brother worked with this company, this dude named Bobby, and so they really would bring in talent, and of course he was the DJ. So even at a young age, he would sneak me in the club, you know, he snuck me in there just so I can carry speakers for him, because you know I was a big guy. He's like my little big brother. Let me let me get him so he can carry, you know, back in the day when you used to carry crates of records, when you used to carry all the big speakers and load them up and wrap up cords and all those things, you know, it's old school. But I was right there seeing all of that, and I thank him so much for allowing me to be there. You know, he looked out for me. He made sure that I wasn't doing anything crazy, but he had me in those environments. And so that Run-DMC show, I just will never forget it. Just being on that side stage, and so many of those artists, Run-DMC, Orange, Juice Jones, Felix and Jarvis, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Starsky Love Bug. It was just a you know, Nucleus. I had Cosmo on my show from Nucleus, you know, who had one of the greatest rap songs, dance song, you know, Jam on It. And I'll never forget those things. I'll never forget having those conversations with those guys. It's just like when I think about it, it's just like it just happened yesterday. I could see it so clearly. And so that inspired me. Run-DMC really inspired me to really start writing. Of course, I was already listening to the beginning of hip hop and things like that of the early 80s. But Run-DMC really got me and said like, hey man, I could do this too, man. And so you know, I'm just thankful.
Yeah, that's beautiful too. It's like, you know, sometimes they say, you know, be careful when you meet your heroes, you know, but it sounded like most of the time it was a great experience that helped, you know, encourage and motivate you to pursue your path.
I just think that the person that I am, you know, a lot of people, like Volbeat has a song called, you know, Counting, and it's counting all the assholes in the room. And so it's a true statement that can happen, but I really haven't had those situations to where I've met people that are just really truly assholes, because I always present and move forward in love. That's how I start everything off. Now, if you're an asshole, it'll show, and I can move away from that. But even then, I always say you either love me or you love to hate me, but it's still love, you know? So I'm not worried about all those things. I just remove myself from any situation. But meeting most of the people that I've met, I can't say that I've met anybody that has been where I'm just like, oh man, he's a total asshole. I just haven't, and I just guess I'm blessed to have been there. And I know they are out there, of course. But once again, I'm not going to let that discourage me or bother me, because I know who I am. So I'm just thankful and grateful for the person that I am, and that's how it goes, man. And I will say quickly that, like my wife, so Run-DMC, I always loved Run-DMC. So my wife got Russell Simmons a couple of times to wish me a happy birthday, you know, to call in, and you know, on my 50th, he wished me, man, I cried like a big baby. I'm a big emotional person anyway, but it was just amazing. And I was just so thankful and grateful, man, that a person of his stature, and I got the utmost respect for him, you know, would call and say that for me. So man, yeah, it's love, man. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, I get all excited when Vinny Stigma from Agnostic Front wishes me Merry Christmas, you know?
Yes, indeed.
But I can't imagine, you know? But
oh my goodness.
What I really like too, and something that I've learned, and I've tried to teach my daughters this, because they're huge music fans now as well, big musical family. I mean, their tastes are different than mine, but they have been able to, you know, I've been blessed now, especially years sober, you know, I'm building more bridges than I'm burning them these days.
Right.
So I get to experience those situations, you know, with being invited to the dressing room and backstage, and
indeed.
And so I try and teach my daughters though that it's like, well, this is their house. We're being respectful when we enter their house.
Yes.
And usually, like you said, if you're coming at them with love and they don't reciprocate it, then to move away. But 9 times out of 10, if you're like, hey, if somebody's eating and I see somebody, I don't bother them.
That's right.
It's like, man, I'm a big fan of that person. I want to tell them, but now's not the time. Like at the urinal or whatever, I'm gonna go fist bump you, and stuff like that. It's just, but a lot of people don't have that common sense. Sometimes I see in the environment, and then they go around, oh, that person was such an asshole to me. Well, did you let them wipe their ass first?
Right, right, indeed.
It's just like, they don't see like how they approached it. You know, so it's like I try. I feel you on that, man.
Yeah, and then being around people like we are, we get to have conversations with people who are on those next levels, and we understand it, I think, a little bit more. I think the public at hand, they are excited about seeing somebody that's not around them or whatever like that. You said the perfect thing. If you see somebody doing things, and I've been around a few people, when I see them, I might fan out on the inside, but I'm not going to lose my mind, around them like that, because I want to give them all the respect that they need. Yeah. All the respect that they need, and let them know that it's all love with me, man. I'm not going to run around here, but there are other people who don't get to see these kind of people, and they're just excited. So I get it. So, I've never had a problem with people coming up to me at all, in the time that I've done things, man. I'm just welcome, and so I just, I do my best to be the best version of me. That's it. All I can do is be me, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've come to find out over the years now, it's just like, because of, trying to be my best version as well, right, and respecting their boundaries, I have a more authentic relationship that I built with them now over the years, because they know, okay, I don't have to worry about this dude losing his shit and drawing attention and doing something dumb.
Indeed.
So
agreed.
I'm still working on that with my oldest daughter, but we'll get there. MGK's like security guard recognizes her every time he comes from town to Cleveland. Like, I'm watching you. Like, chill, man.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Hey, listen, you just got to let them know that they are just as important as anybody else. And when you know who you are, and you understand that they are the other people over there, they make great music and do their thing, but they're human just like you. That has always kept me grounded, man. Listen, you're no better than me. We're all good. You make great music I love, but you're not better than me.
I remember when they first got to meet him, and they like called me because he's got his coffee shop here in Cleveland and everything like that. And they're like, Dad, he's like right here. We want to go say hi. What do we do? And I'm just like, I was like, tell him I was at one of his first shows at the Blind Lemon Club when he was just getting started. And then that they walked up and said, excuse me, they're polite, and then they mentioned that. Right. And it was just like his armor fell off. He's like, man, I miss those days, man. He was there, and then it was cool. They had a connection. Of course, she still had a little bit of meltdown, but when she got a picture with him and all that, but at least I don't know, it's like, and I've been there, but, it's good to pass down the knowledge through experience, and share these memories now with my my kids,
Yes, indeed, man. Awesome.
But, I wanted to ask you too, then, so as you started realizing it, as you were writing and started realizing that you wanted to be a part of, like, when was it that you actually started venturing out and doing your own thing? Were you still in high school? Had you guys settled down somewhere?
So it was, once again, Fort Jackson, young guy. I would do, sometimes we do little like talent things or whatever, but everybody knew that I was a writer and freestyler at the time, and rapping and doing my thing. And once again, you got friends from every culture there. So I listened to everything. So I just loved music. I'm not a genre snob. I never have been. My parents listened to everything. So my brother would, give me the microphone at these clubs and stuff, and let me get up there and do some of the stuff I, would write. And he and I were like a little group there for a while, and then I had some other little groups with friends and things like that. But the very first big time was right after I graduated from high school, Richland Northeast, in Columbia, South Carolina. Yes, indeed, the Fighting Cavaliers. Anyway, after I got out of high school, my brother had these guys, these military dudes that he knew well, and they had a group, and they were looking for another guy, and the group was called World Tour MCs. And so they Easy E's, they call him Hanif, Black Hercules. He's a big guy, half black, half Cuban guy, real cool dude though. So he comes in and he wants to see what I have. So he's just like, well, let me see what your brother's got, man. You just telling me your brother's real good. Let's see what he has. So he came over there, and then we just freestyled, and I just ran things for him, and he was just like, okay, you're in. You're definitely in. Because I was a little bit younger than them, you know? So he was just like, okay, you're in. So what happened after that is that there was a show coming up like within a week or so. And we did a show down in Winter Haven, Florida, and as World Tour MCs, and then we opened up for the Boogie Boys, and it was amazing. We went down there and had once again, I was already hooked, but now I'm in it fully, because now here I am doing a show, and now we're doing shows as World Tour MCs. And we did a few shows that was just, the place was just totally packed out, and it was just a different vibe. And here I am with these older, confident guys, and now I'm building up my confidence also. So after that, sky was the limit, man. It was on. And so I just started doing my own thing and writing, and then, you know, I get married, I have children and all those things. So it wasn't as pressing to me because I wanted that family, and that's what I had. And so I was happy that I had that family. So, you know, my wife and I, we put all of our time into our children. So now I'm getting on. I'm running on, man. I'm sorry. So I answer your question. But the thing is getting to the point of when I got with Stuck Mojo. So here I am at a Fishbone, De La Soul, and Goody Mob concert. And I see a friend of mine that I graduated with, Reggie, and he was in there, and he was just like, hey, what's going on, man? I haven't seen you in forever, you know? And I was just like, yeah, it's been a minute. And then he said, hey, you know our boy Theron, another guy that graduated with us, who was the lead singer of Stuck Mojo, the original Bonz. He was just like, hey, man, Bonz is with a band called Stuck Mojo, and they'll be here in about a couple weeks. And so he's like, man, you need to come down and check it out. I said, I'm there. And so, boom, here it is. I'm walking down to this show, and it's a place called Rockefeller's at the time in Columbia, South Carolina. And I'm just walking down, and I look, and I see this dude that looks like the Theron I knew from, high school, but he's dressed differently. He's got dreads, and they're curled up like some devil horns. And I'm just like, and here I am in my Tommy Hilfiger khakis and shirt, and I'm just a preppy like dude, and I'm coming down, and all of a sudden he sees me, and he screams my name out so loudly. It was just, oh! I was just like, oh my gosh, it is him. So we just hug it out, man, and it's just love, and we're just looking at each other, man. And I was just like, man, I haven't seen you in so long, because we hadn't seen each other since high school, and so it had been a few years. And so I was just like, oh my gosh. And the story I just told him, because I just had him on my show a few weeks ago, the story I told him, just me walking up and these guys were talking to him, because he was, hobnobbing with the fans, like talking with the fans. And so this guy was just like, told his little brother, he said, tell him. And the little guy just looked up at him and said, Bonz, you're a god. And I was just like, what the hell what is going on? He just called Bonz a god. I was just like, oh my goodness, this is wow. So we go in the club, we're sitting at the bar, fans are coming up buying them shots and things like that. And so he says, okay, man, I need to get ready for the show. And I was like, okay. So I said, well, I'm gonna be right up front. And so I walk in there, and I walk up to the front of the stage, and they're about to come out. And so I look behind me, and nobody's behind me. Everybody's like 15 feet behind me. And I'm like, why are they not up here, man? I'm ready to enjoy this show. Let's have a good time. And so they come out there, and they do their intro, and then that first lick, that Rich hits that like that, man, and they go into the song. Everybody, I'm in a mosh pit, and they start slinging it, and I'm just laughing. I was just like, oh my goodness. So this was my first introduction to Stuck Mojo. And so, man, they're just like, they're throwing me around, hit me in the back and stuff like that, but it was amazing. So from that moment, I was caught up in it, And it goes on to where I become the front man for it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you want to hear all of that, man. You know.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to talk too much, but I'll tell you whatever you want to hear, though. Go ahead.
No, I think you were reading my notes. Yeah, because I was gonna, I wanted to see like after the was it MC Worldwide or
World Tour MC?
World Tour MC. Yeah. I should have wrote that down. I know.
No, but, I love it.
But after that, like I was going to ask, like, how did the Stuck Mojo thing come together? And then you just shared how. So somebody you went to high school with is now,
right?
Yeah. And then when did it transitioned where you got to be.
That's why I wanted to pause just in case it give it some air and let you do what you do. And so before that, I was in also in a group called First Platoon with a couple of my guys, friends of mine, and it was just good, man. We just had a military theme. I came from a military family, and they actually both were in the Air Force, and so we just came up with this thing, and then we did a little like EP, and which was good. And these all were just very, very talented individuals. And then I had a group where it was my brother and I didn't mention that. It was called Prep, P-R-E-P. So I was a preppy dude, and it stands for positively rocking every party. I'm a positive guy.
Nice.
And that's where it was. So that's what I was doing. So fast forward to the Stuck Mojo. Stuck Mojo came back to town again. And so I brought some of our other friends that we graduated with to this show. And so I told Theron after the show, we hung out a little bit, went to a fan spot, and they were blazing up a little bit. I don't, I'm straight edge. I'm a straight edge dude. They were blazing up, but we were just having great conversation just in there, as it was passing around, puff, puff, pass. I was like, pass beyond me, but it was all love. I never judge. Do your thing. Yeah. Enjoy your life. So I told him, I said, if you ever need me to write or do anything, just let Rich know. I'm just letting all you guys know, because I got to meet Rich and Frank and Corey. And I said, I'm just letting you guys know if you ever need me for anything, because I love this too. It's what I do. And so, would you know, they hit me up to get on some songs with them. And so here it is, man. I'm going to Atlanta. Me and another guy we graduated with, Tony Morton, because he and Theron played in the band together, the marching band together at Richmond Northeast. So here it is. We go down and, man, get on a couple of songs, and it's love, and we're having a great time. Come back home. Well, we actually went to a party after that, a little party, Bonz and I and Tony, and hung out with some guys and had a great time. And then we head on back from Atlanta to Columbia, South Carolina, which is where I stay. And so I'm wondering when I'm going to hear the songs, when are they going to be finished? So they actually come to Columbia and do some, do a show or two. And I'm like, hey, when are the songs? They were like, well, we're not putting it out yet or whatever. So they've got some internal beef going on. I don't know anything about this, none of my business. It's what they've got going on. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I asked, I was with my son at AAU basketball practice. And so I called Bonz. I was like, hey man, just checking to see when those songs are coming out. And he said, I'm not with them anymore. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, some things going on. I don't really want to talk about it, but I'm not there anymore. He said, but listen, here's Rich's number. Call Rich and ask him when they're going to release whatever. And he said, you can holler at him. I said, okay. So I called Rich. And so he didn't answer at first, but then he called me back. And then he said, hey, man, what's going on? I said, yeah, I'm just calling to check to see, about when the songs are coming out. When is the album coming out? And he said, well, can I ask you a question? He said, does the offer still stand for you to help us write? And I was like, man, this Stuck Mojo, Rich Ward, this, Bonz, all this. I was just like, yeah, of course I'll help you guys write. Because in my mind, they're having, who knows what they're having, but I'm not thinking that Bonz is not a part of this band anymore. Not really in my mind. People go through things. That's what it is. So we just started writing. I just started writing. He sent me music. I'm just like, man, I'm on this. Nothing. It's easy to me. Man, he's sending me this great music. I'm writing. So the next thing you know, I've written some songs for him. And so Rich hits me. He says, I want to ask you a question. And I said, okay. He said, we've been looking for a lead singer, right? And I was like, so this is really how it is. I mean, so Bonz and I, he's like, yeah, we've been looking for a lead singer, and you've written all these songs and done all these demos for us, and it's amazing. So it's like, what do you think? So actually, this is when they came up here and asked me. We were working on a song, and so came up and they said, well, what do you think? And I was like, oh man. I was like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. You know, I was kind of hit, you know, like when they say you get hit like a stack of bricks or whatever like that, I was hit, you know, and I was just like, well, that's something I got to think about. And so I, you know, started talking to all the people, because Rich kind of gave me a background of what was going on. So I just started talking to my wife and friends and a whole lot of people, like, man, what this is. And then, you know, a lot of people was like, you can't miss this offer. You can't, this is a great offer. And I was just like, well, but Bonz, I said, that's my brother, man. I was like, I feel weird about this. But they was like, this is an opportunity. So, you know, I know people on the outside looking in, it was just like, because some people said like, yeah, some people like, my wife was just like, maybe you need to talk to him first. And I said, I do need to talk to him first. But by the time I had talked to him, they had released the song. They released the song. And so the next thing I know, my phone was blowing up and it was him like, yo, man. And I was just like, hey. So at that time, you know, you had free minutes after like 6 or 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to call him at 7 o'clock, you know, so when it's free and I can just talk to him. So I left the house and I just went, you know, around the corner, and I just sat in my truck and I was just like, hey, man. And so he was like, you know, he just went in, and I gave him every opportunity to say everything, because he had every right to me to say what he said. And I said, hey, I wanted to let you know what was going on, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And so I'm like, wanted to talk to you about this. And so we had a long conversation, a beautiful conversation. He wasn't mad with me at all. He was just like, you know, I'm not gonna say he wasn't mad with me at all. He was a little upset, but it wasn't directed to me per se. And so I was just like, hey, so he just kind of went through everything. We got off the phone with pure love. If he was in front of me, we would have hugged each other. And he said, well, I'll just talk to you soon. So now fast forward, we're about to go on tour. And so he calls me one night and we're just talking, and I was coming back from, you know, doing a little workout. And so I was just like, what's going on, man? He said, what's up? I was just like, hey, man, just finished working out, you know, getting ready for this thing. He said, oh, you guys about to do a tour or whatever? I said, yes. And so he said, yeah, man, it could have been bad. He said, a lot of people want me to hate you. And I said, I hear you, because that's me. I'm just like, I'm not gonna get riled up too much. If I get riled up and I go to the edge, call me Cliff, because I'm probably not coming back. I'm probably not coming back. But it takes me, you know, it takes a lot to get me riled up. So yeah. I just simply told him, I said, hey, man, I want to say something to you. I said, right at this moment, I said, what do you want me to do? I said, what would you like me to do? And I said, if you tell me not to do this, I won't do it. And I said, right there at this very moment, I said, that is the most honest I could ever be with you. I said, because it's you, I won't do it. And he said, nah, man. He said, you have my blessings. He said, go out there and do your thing and handle your business and make it what it is. And I, you know, so I've always had the utmost respect for him. A lot of times when I talk about it, he didn't like me to say that, but I tell him I'm so thankful to him for allowing me to even come there. I'm thankful to Rich also, but it started off with Bonz bringing me into the fold and saying like this guy has some talent. And so after that, I do 2 studio albums with Stuck Mojo, and now it just propelled me to do everything else that I'm doing. So yeah, man, that's my long, short story. But people always tell me, man, just take your time and tell that story, because people really want to hear it.
No, and that was very important for fans to hear, and for me to hear, because you know, it's like I mean, it just says the level of respect and friendship that you guys had for each other and stuff. And you know, being the real friend that he was, he knew what a good opportunity it was for you, and you know, given his blessing, that's huge, man. Because you can go out there and, you know, with this negativity hanging over your shoulders, positive as you are, other people's energy can still be coming at you. But man, once you had that blessing, it's just like, then you're good to go, man.
Yes, indeed. That blessing meant it all, man. And he didn't understand, you know, a lot of time. I know he understands, but he just like, you know, it's kind of humbling. And it's just how we were raised. He's a military kid too, so the way we were raised, those kind of things mean something to us. And that's my brother for life, man. And he's the greatest. So it's all love.
Yeah, back when our words, meant something too.
Right.
So, it's definitely that's a beautiful thing. And what's your relationship with him today?
Just like I said, I just had him on the show a couple of weeks ago. And I've been wanting to get him on for a while, and then he finally was just like, "Hey, I just want to give you some time to get you, your feet up under you doing, your show." And man, we just had a great conversation, man. That's my guy. We're gonna do a part 2. I'm just waiting for him to agree to that, to do the part 2, so we can talk more about music. We just got a little emotional and just showed love to each other. Once again, that's my guy. I mean, it's love. That's my guy. Yeah.
Dude, and I want to talk more about your show as well, but like for me, doing this has been like, like I said, I'm 14 years sober, but I had to learn how to, I'm dealing with a lot of, anxiety, PTSD, just, once I don't have the crutch anymore. I got to start learning how to talk and communicate and form relationships. So this is like part of my healing when I do this. It's like I enjoy the real authentic conversations when people are transparent and share their we could sit there, we could go down the checklist and the resume all day, look what I did, look at these gold records and this and that. But I like to get into the skin,
that's real. That's real. I love it.
Yeah, and and for me, I've by me being honest and authentic, like you said, how you approach a situation, I've been blessed with some of my guests opening up about stuff they probably never opened up about before.
Right.
And then we formed that relationship, and I've been invited since to, so many other, so many people I never thought I'd have in my life on my phone, or that just by being our real authentic selves and facing our working through our stuff, and being real. And I think the audience, the fans, like, they want to hear about the recording process and what went into this, and this is my jam and whatever. But I think when you pull the curtain back on Oz, the great Oz,
right.
They love that as well. Like, wow, this person struggled with this, and I look up to them. I have them here, but it's like they went through something I'm going through.
Right.
I can get through it too,
Yeah, because it's conversation. I always say we're asking questions, but it's less of an interview, but more of a conversation. And that's what I want to have with every single person that comes on my show. I want to have a conversation. I want to know about you. I'm just not having you here and it's just like, hey, what? No, I'm just like, no, I really want to know about that. I really want to know about your background. I really do. I'm very interested in it. Just like I say, I'm visual. So when you're taking me down that trip that you have been through, I'm right there with you riding shotgun. So I can see it. I'm just like, wow, you went through this? Wow. Amazing. So that's me.
Yeah. So it's like, okay. And then what did you learn from that experience? This didn't work for you. Now I know,
Yes.
It's like, me being in recovery, I was at a meeting this morning and it's just like, I learned from the people of what to do and what not to do, that have come before me, and they help me to pass that message along, and that's what I like to do with these conversations as well. But how did how did your show come together then? When did you put this together? What is it? Live and Loud with the Lord.
Live and Loud with the Lord. Nelson, that is. Yeah. So me during that pandemic. So let me go back. I had a guy that named Rodney Love, and I'll say his whole name. Good old Rodney. Is a young guy, really smart dude. Read a lot, was into music deeply. He kept me up on a lot of music because he loved music too. And we worked together back in the day. And he was like, hey, man, I bought you these books. He said, you love to run your mouth and talk, and you're loud and crazy as could be. He said, there's this thing where people are doing podcasts. And I said, podcast? And he's like, yeah, so take these books, man. It might be something good for you. And I was just like, yeah, okay. So I kind of browsed through it. But at that time, man, I'm still into the music. I'm just like, man, I'm not trying to be a podcaster, you know. I was like, I love this music, man. I still want to be out there on the road. I want to do these kind of things. So hold on a second. There's always something popping up on your screen. All right, get out of there. I apologize. So I had the those books, and I was like, nah, that's not what I'm gonna do. So fast forward, pandemic time, my son and I said, I look at my son and I said, hey, this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. I've been wanting to do a show with him. For years, I've been wanting to do a show with him because we have such a great relationship and we just clown and laugh. And so we created a show called the Going In Podcast. And so he's still a busy young man, you know, still out there doing his thing. So we did some shows, but he wasn't, not that he wasn't into it like me. I just got a different kind of thing that I'm into when it comes to music, because I like everything. Not that they don't like everything, because they've heard everything also, but they're kind of in their thing. So some of the guests that I would bring on is just like, he was like, man, I don't know nothing about this. I'm just over here sitting down, just whatever. So what I did is I said, you know what? I'm having so much fun with this, because I was having fun with him though. Just, you know, having been able to talk with my son and have a good conversation, because it was always fun. And we did some great shows. But I said, you know what? I'm going to create my own show and do my thing where I talk about music or anything related to music with these people, you know, certain people that I know or whatever like that. So I was like, I love talking about music. I love having conversations with people about music. So not just any one genre. I wanted to do it all. I wanted to bring everybody to my world, and I wanted to enter their world. So I went with going with, you know, with Live and Loud with the Lord. And here I am just doing my thing. And so I started reaching out to people. So I reached out to Joshua Toomey. Talk to me, you know? Yeah. And so when you talk with guys and that, you know, that you're friends with on Facebook and things like that, we never really talked personally, but they knew of me. And I can always remember seeing his thing out there and following him and you know, saying like, hey, man, this guy is something else. So I had him on my show. He agreed to come on the show. And I was just like, man, thank you so much, man. And he didn't know. I bet I was so green with it still, trying to, you know, and I was like, hey, man, just thank you, and asking him questions and being that guy, because I was still learning, really. And he was just really graceful and just let me do what I do. And then he said, hey, Lord Nelson, you know that Chris Akin, and this is where he brings Chris Akin. He's like, you know, this Chris Akin is he's a fan of Stuck Mojo's, man. He's got respect for you and whatever. Like, he said, you need to holler at Chris. And I said, of course. And so he's like, Chris Cleveland and everything like that. So he hooked, just like Chris hooked us up. Josh was that bridge to Chris and myself. Nice. So Chris comes, I'm interviewing Chris. We're having a conversation. And Chris, you know, Chris is cool. He's a professional. Chris is that guy. You know, there's nothing to him. But we're having a great conversation. And then when I see Chris, I look at Chris and I said, Chris, Cleveland. I said, Chris, did I meet you in Cleveland at a Stuck Mojo show? He said, yes. Yes, you did. Because when I saw him, I was just like, I remembered him immediately. Because we really chopped it up. He was really, you know, talking with Rich, but we talked after the show. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, man. I said, I can recall that. I remember. And so we just started laughing. And we just had a
straight edge, right?
Oh, yeah, listen. Definitely, because I remember so much. And so he was just like, yeah. So after the show, he hit me back later. And I was telling him when the show was going to be out. So he hit me back later and he said, hey, I like what you're doing. I had a great time with you. He said, what do you think about coming on the CMS network? And I was just like, wow, man. I said, are you serious? He's like, yeah. And so I really didn't have to think about it. You know, I gave it a moment or so, but I really had to think about it. I was just like, man, I said, of course, man. I said, I'm there. And so boom, here we are. Continues moving. I'm here right now. I'm talking with you. I'm on the Boondoggle podcast. So it's all out, you know. It's a beautiful thing, man. I thank Josh so much. I thank Chris so much, man. It's just been amazing. And let me say that every guest that I've had on my show, every single person, I don't care if it's from the biggest person to the smallest person, I treat them all the same with the utmost respect because they deserve it. And for them taking some precious time out of their busy schedules to spend time with me, it's priceless to me. It really is. And that's authentically me. That's how I love, and I always want them to know that. Yeah. So that's how I came to be, man. That's how I'm here today.
Yeah, man. And Chris, like I said, he's been he knew me back in my promotion days, my wild dollar bill days or whatever, and he stayed my friend even through that, and then as I got sober and I'm going through, life and just kind of getting, dipping my toes in this podcast realm.
Yes.
He helped me, guide me around. And then I got that same invite, man. I'm on the network.
Yes,
too. I'm like, yeah, man, let's take it to the next level because I don't know what I'm doing. I suck with this social media stuff and building. I ain't a 14-year-old TikTok girl,
Right.
I'm trying to build up a following on there, but it's like, but I can talk,
Yes,
I can talk to people, have fun. I can build some content, but
100%.
I definitely needed his guiding light. And then, it's because of him that it's like, I got familiar with Josh as well.
Yes.
So I followed Josh and his work, and I got to meet Josh at Louder Than Life this past summer in Louisville. I go up to Josh. I'm like, hey man, I'm Bill Bailey. We got a mutual friend, Chris Akin. He's like, you sure you want to say that out loud? Another bridge that Chris put together,
Of course,
man.
he's that dude. He's that guy, man.
Yeah. And then I wanted to ask too about now that, because I mean same thing, like especially during COVID, it's like, I mean, Chris got me hooked with the StreamYard here. Before I was just doing like phoners and stuff,
Right.
And this is taking it to a new level, and like during COVID, it's like doing the same, building this thing up. I had nothing else to do but time, and I'm opening doors, I'm networking and getting people on here.
Yes.
Building some content. But once we got through that, obviously you're enjoying what you're doing. So you're keeping the podcast going, but you're also able to get back out on the road and recording again. So let's talk about, your current project, the Plastic Catastrophe, how that came to be.
So Plastic Catastrophe with Lord Nelson is an amazing project, and I always my brother MMA, the Magnificent Matt Acevedo. That's what I call him. That's what I've given him that name, but he is that guy. So within my time in music, I've had amazing musicians. Rich Ward, Mike Martin, Sean Delson, Rodney Bobo, Frank. Here I am trying to remember Frank's last name, but Frank is Stuck Mojo. I know him at LSU. Of course, all the former guys of Stuck Mojo, Corey Lowry, which I'm cool with. Corey's my guy. He's one of the greatest guys in the world. And so them, and then with my band Lies that I was with, with Sebastian and Matt and Laurent, all of these guys were just good dude, and Frank there too. So all of these guys were just really good guys and talented musicians. And then I moved to No Power, No Crown with Big Steve, who was our sound guy for Stuck Mojo, and he had been around Stuck Mojo and Fozzy for the longest time. So those things that he was doing, and so he was just like, hey, I've got a band up here in Charlotte, why don't you come and do some stuff with us, And so I was just like, I was kind of like on a little hiatus, just writing my own stuff, doing my own thing. And so I was just like, yeah. So I came up and did a few things with them, and then they were just like, well, why don't you front us, And so started doing that. So the No Power, No Crown thing was cool as can be. We did an album also, which was amazing. The Wake Up Call. Did some shows and had a ball on stage with these guys. These. Yeah. Listen. So let me run them down right quick. Big Steve, Justin, I call him Just Nice. Jeff Treese, the Jet, I call him. Looney was the drummer. Looney was a great drummer. And then we had Matt also, and then we had Jackson, and then we had Cap Nunn. So all of these guys are great musicians. I've been around great musicians, great guitarists, and I'm just like, wow, I've just been blessed. And once again, all of this stuff came from Stuck Mojo. So I'm just thankful. All this stuff goes back to Bonz, goes back to Reggie meeting me at that show. So here we go. I am here just kind of doing my thing. And the Matt hits me up. He hits me up. His wife told him, like, send him. We were friends on Facebook, and he said his wife told him, send him a song. So he sent me a song, right? And I'm always open to stuff like that. You know, I'm like, yo, I don't mind collaborating if something's amazing. So he sent me a song, but I know I was doing the Lord Nelson featuring Lies at the time. So maybe I just kind of put it to his side because that's not me. So that was just kind of strange. So anyway, he sent me the song and he said I didn't get back with him. And I was just like, wow, man, that's just strange for me. You know, I didn't get back with you after you sent me a song. I was like, wow. I was like, okay. So his wife, the great, I call her Killer Carm. She's an amazing young lady. And she said, send him something else. So he sent me another song. And that song was Action off our album, The Firestarters. So he sent me the song. I got it and I listened to it. I was just like, oh, man. So me being me, I wrote something to that. I got on it. And so, bam, here it is. So now we're really having communication now. And then the next thing you know, that was like 2019, 2020. Within like 4 or 5 months, maybe, we had a whole album. He just kept sending me music, and I was like, thank you. And bow, 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 bow. Next thing you know, we got an album. Next thing you know, we're putting out an album. We signed with M&O Music. It's a boutique internet label that we signed with in France, but that's what I was with Lord Nelson featuring Lies also. So we signed with them, and we put out that Firestarters album, which still is an amazing album. And yes, it was independent. Great album. So that's how Matt and I got together. And still to this day, Matt is my guy. And he's like the Rich Wards of the world and the Steves and listen, every musician that I mentioned, every great musician, and they're all great musicians. Matt is that guy too. And I call him, I was like, man, you like Prince, man. I said, you do it all because it's just he and I right now. It's just us. And so we're looking to see when we want to get on this road. We're looking like we might be doing an EP here in a moment. We've got so many songs. We've just been releasing singles. And man, these we're on Matt Hartnett's show. I don't know if you talked to Matt yet. Matt, another great Aftershocks TV. Matt is that guy also. And Matt used to own the label, and we were just on Matt's show not too long ago, and a great conversation once again. And Matt was just telling he could see the maturation of where we were at first and now where we are. And we, love everything, but the music that we have right now that's coming out here soon, man, we are on it so hard, and it's beautiful. And we are just having the most open, lovely, amazing, magnificent. I don't know how many more. To describe what's going on with us, but it's the greatest. I'm gonna say it's the greatest time. We haven't been out on the road like that, but it's the greatest time right now because I am totally free to be me. I was on the Lord Nelson featuring Lies also, totally me. But this is right here. He and I we vibe so well together. He makes that music. He sends me that music, and because he's in Texas, and he sends me the music. I do my thing, I record, I send it back to him, and then I let him do his thing. Now, of course, he may ask me this or that, but I just let him do him. He lets me do me. And we don't have a fear if we want something changed or whatever to have that conversation. But we are so in tune right now, man, everything's just been beautiful, man. So MMA, the Magnificent Matt Acevedo, lives in Texas, but straight from Brooklyn. But he's that guy though. Most definitely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm always a name person. I'm always curious about how people come up with certain names. So tell me about Plastic Catastrophe.
You say that. So when I came to Matt, when we got together, he already had that name. He had Plastic Catastrophe already. And I was just like, out of total respect for him, I was just like, hey man, whatever you want to do. So that's me. I'm easy breezy. I was just like, whatever you want to do, you're bringing me this great music, man. I have to give you that utmost respect too. And so he'd have to really explain it. He's explained it, what it is. And listen, I just roll with it in my mind. I'm just like, so many things in the world are fake, catastrophe, but we're bringing the real to it. I don't know. He'd have to tell you because I just roll with it. I was just like, it sounds cool to me and it's different. So
I'm always curious when I hear names.
I got you. I hear you. You. I'm the same. I am the exact same. We have to get Matt on and have him, tell you exactly what was his thoughts about it.
I'm always down for getting MMA on here, man.
Yes, indeed. That's my. Hey, listen, great. He's a genius, man. I love him, man.
And then I wanted to ask too, what's your relationship now? Do you keep in touch with Rich at all, or any of the Fozzy guys, or the old Stuck Mojo dudes?
Well, I'm gonna say this, and I'll be honest about it. I just I went to was it last year or the year before? I went to a Fozzy concert when they actually came here to Columbia. Saw Rich. Didn't get to talk to Chris this time, but it was like it's like it was yesterday. Everything was good. I have the utmost love and respect for Rich, and I always will. And we don't talk as much as we used to. Mike Martin sometimes, but online we'll talk, because all these guys are busy doing their things. And so you remember as when we were first talking, to have these guys out there doing their things. I'm not one to bother you. I've asked, I've asked Rich to be on the show. I've asked Chris to be on the show. I've asked but I asked Bonz. So I don't know what it was, why they were like, they didn't want to do it. I don't know if they thought that I was going to get into some craziness, maybe. I don't know. I'm not that guy. I just wanted to talk with my bandmates, with my brothers. And not everybody seems like they want to do it. So I was just like, maybe I'm not big enough or whatever like that. But let me go ahead and say to you, I'm big enough.
Well, like you're saying too, though, it's just like, hey, man, we're all busy, and these are our fun projects, but we got family, we got life we still deal with and stuff too. So, man, Chris is one of the most busiest people in show business, man. Yeah. I'd love to have him on too, but it's like I've been following him from the wrestling days and everything. That dude there's podcasting, everything.
There's no problem with it. Do I feel like just me being the person that I am, I know the love that I always give everybody. And remember what we were saying about if it's not reciprocated, then I just move on. It's not a problem with me. And once again, yes, they're living their lives, doing their things, and it's all love. But PJ Farley, the bass player, I asked him, he came on the show, we had a great conversation. So once again, it's all love. I have not a single problem with anybody. I don't have issues with anybody. If anybody has an issue with me, that's on them. They've got the problem with them. And I'm not saying that that's what's going on, anything like that. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about with anybody in life. I just don't have time to deal with that other stuff. I live a positive lifestyle. I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. But my thing is that I move forward in faith and I move forward in positivity. And if you're not that guy or that girl or gal or however you say it, then I don't have to be around you. You definitely don't have to be around me, because I am more than happy with me. I am thankful and grateful for every single day that I have on this earth. And I'm not worried about what everybody else is doing. But if I am in your circumference, if I'm in your circle, if I'm in your life in any kind of way, like right now, we are brothers for life. There's you could call me or say, hey, what's up? That's where we are, because we have
I got your number now. Look out.
Yeah, we have a kinship. So there's no disrespect. Yeah, we all get busy. I might call you, or you be like, hey man, I'm doing stuff. You might not be able to answer. I get all of that, because the best laid plans, I always remember Mike Martin saying this, the best laid plans are effed up by life, because things go on. So I am
expectations,
Yes, but see, I've lowered my expectations about people, because my saying now, this is a Lord Nelson quote, the world is not crazy, it's the people in it. So people do crazy stuff. The world has been doing its thing forever, before we could ever understand it. So I'm not wilding out. I just know I have love for everybody. If you don't have love for me, then that's on you. I'm good. It's the Lord Nelson, that is. No, but I love every one of those guys. Love them all. Love them all.
Yeah, and like Prep wasn't just a band name for you, man. It's a lifestyle, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Still positively rocking every party.
Still positively rocking every party. And listen, I just in the mail today, I got 2 new Ralph Lauren shirts. That's what I do, right? Listen, right here, that's what I do, man. Right here, I've loved it for a long time, so that's what I do, man.
Nice.
The clothes fits the big guy well. So Ralph Lauren and Polo, I've reached out to you guys before, and I know you don't really need my help, but to have this big, brown, beautiful individual right here, because I'm looking straight into the camera, will do you well for sales. You need some other people wearing your stuff, not just the people you have. I'm classic and cool, just like anyway. Just like
use promo code Lord20 to save 20% off on your next raffle.
I like it 100%. I love that.
I'm with you, man. I'm trying to get them sponsors too, man.
Oh my goodness, man. No, it's all
I've seen a lot of people are doing Blue Chew, but I don't think that'll just get me in trouble, so I don't need to get on that one.
Hey, we're working. Listen, I'm wide open, man. We're working out.
I wanted to ask you too, before we get ready to wrap up here, man. Your latest single, what is Ready for War?
Yeah.
The one you sent me. Yeah, and if you said, I mean, you're working, you're not sure about an EP yet or a release, but right now you've just been releasing singles. Where can people find and go check it out?
Well, we are with all the new singles, man. We're out there on every digital distribution place. All I gotta do is go out there and type up, Plastic Catastrophe with Lord Nelson. We're everywhere. If they want to, check the fire starters, once again, it's everywhere. And it's on M&O Music also. And what we're really thinking about right now, once again, everywhere digitally, you can find our music. Plastic Catastrophe with Lord Nelson, you can find it, every single. The Firestarters album also, it's all out there. Just been looking at things and put out there, should we put out some more like physical copies and things like that. So I think that we're going to make a nice little run of physical copies. I think that we're going to put like a little bundle together where it's back to those old days of being important to people. And somebody wants to wear that shirt and somebody wants to have that physical product in their hand. And I know it's better like when you're out there on tour, but to get out here on tour now, it's got to make sense now because it's really expensive, and you got to have everything in the proper mindset. But Matt and I, we're in the same book, same page, same line, same word. We're there. So yeah, we're working on doing what we're doing. He sent me some artwork for something. I'm telling you, listen, it's coming. Let me go ahead and say that it's coming. We'll have it soon.
Like I've been talking with a lot of artists, and what I'm happy about too is like vinyl's making a comeback.
Right.
Right. So you gotta put something out for somebody else's big little brother to carry in a crate. To a show.
Yeah. I like that. You see the album back here. My Stony Sugar Skull, Dr. Monica Demler right there. She beautiful when she put it. I just love her. She just got a different style to me. I had her on my show. She's just unique. Something about her sonics and what she's doing. Every time I think about her, I start smiling because I think about the music she's doing, and it was just different. And I was like, oh my goodness. So she's like, yeah, she's putting out vinyl. I was just like, I'm going to buy it wherever it is. I said, I know I don't want you to send me anything. I'm going to buy it. So yes, if I get something good that I appreciate or whatever like that, and I'm going to buy it. And I think that is something that we want to do also. Yes, indeed. So I'm glad you said that.
What got me into the game as a kid, too. It's like we both agree we're visual people.
Right.
But it was like having that hard copy of that vinyl, and then like you could put that on.
Yes.
And start to finish, you went on a story. You went on a journey, man.
Right.
And it was like your meditation period almost,
Yes,
and you're enjoying the artwork, reading the liner notes.
Read a lot of what you said.
Headphones on. It helped us pause in this crazy world. The world, like you said, stays the same, but the people are crazy.
That's right.
We're getting crazier by the day because everything's so like, I'm glad that I can jam some tunes on this when I'm at the gym.
Yeah.
And I could get through whatever. Or when I'm driving, I can listen to, Live and Loud with the Lord Nelson, in my car and stuff like that. But to take that time at home to really enjoy,
100%.
a lot of us aren't yogis and stuff like that, but that's the closest we get to just pausing and enjoying and being in the moment, man.
Music. Listen, music. Other than my family, my wife and my children. And my extended family, which you are also now, it's music is just so important to me, and music is always playing in my head. Something always, my wife used to say, like, do you have to sing everything about something. I'm putting on my shoes. That's just me. And she's just like, man, you are the wildest dude in the world. Do you always think about music? I not always, but in the 90 percentile, music is just in my head. And so I apply it to everything that I'm doing. You know, if I'm, listen, if I got to do this chore or this or that, whatever like that, I don't really want to be around anybody. I just want to be with me and my music. Yeah. When Matt sends me something, I don't care what time it is. It's like, I want to get up and just leave the house. It could be 2 a.m, 3 a.m. I just want to get up and put it in my vehicle and just drive around the block or two and just listen to it as loud as it can go and just enjoy, you know, what's going on. So yes, man, I love music, man. It's just been a part of my life for forever, and I'll continue to enjoy it. Yes.
Well, I got to ask you then some of the questions I normally ask my guests on here.
Ask me.
This is going to be a tough one always a tough one for the music lovers to
never tough, never
narrow down, but your top 3 musical artists.
Okay, now that is tough. My top 3 musical artists. Listen, I was going to hit you with something I could have gotten off the easy route real quick. So let me go to give you my selfishness. Plastic Catastrophe with Lord Nelson. Stuck Mojo, Lord Nelson featuring Lies in no particular order. Plastic Catastrophe is number 1 right now because that's what I'm doing. And I'll throw No Power, No Crown in there as the, you know, I know it's 4, but I'll throw that in there also. So all the stuff that I've done is very important to me, and it's probably over everything else. Now, when we start going to other people, man, you are a wild dude. Now, it is pretty hard because I love so much music. Holy catastrophe. That's crazy. Yeah. Okay. Wow. I love so much music. That is probably to be honest with you, probably one of the most difficult. It's a difficult thing for me. And I don't even know if I can actually give you an answer because of how much music I love. So in my mind right now, every genre is running across my mind. I always talk about RUN-DMC, but I can talk in the rap world, RUN-DMC, Public Enemy, Rakim, KRS-One, A Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul. I can keep going on, and I know I'm missing a NWA, Tupac, Eminem. Man, I haven't heard all of it like a Machine Gun Kelly album, but I think he's dope as can be too. I love his flow. I love his attitude also. The old school guys, you know, Nucleus, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. Man, I could keep going on, and I'm missing so many because there's so much. So that's just, listen, that's just on the rap side. But then you come back to where you talk about the Nirvanas and the Metallicas and the Iron Maidens and the goodness. I love Volbeat also right now because I love the way Mike sings. I just love music. I love country music too. You know, the Conway Twitties, the Charlie Price, man, listen, I like Bach and Beethoven and Rachmaninoff and all of these things. I just love music, and no matter what it is, if it's hot, it's hot. And I know I'm going on beyond your 3. I just want to say that I love all genres of music, and if it's hot, it's hot. I don't care what it is, and I'm sorry. I know that probably the big 3 is impople for me. I'm going to go ahead and say that.
I got you. I'll let you go on that.
Yeah, that's impossible. It's impossible.
And then here's a good question for you. I love hearing answers for this, especially you know, us being parents and stuff too. I mean, both of my girls are in college now, but what class do you feel should be mandatory today before graduating high school?
Nice. Before graduating high, I'm going to say that they should teach a business class in high school. Business should be a very, very important thing for us to understand, to not just be workers, but to want to own businesses. You know, American dream of having your own and doing things, but you know, you got that 1% up there or 2% that have it all and want everybody else to be a worker, you know. And the reality of it is that you can work for all the companies you want to, but you won't be rich working for those companies, but they'll be be rich. Just what it is, you know. But but hey, we're out here able to, you know, live our lives and do things, and not everybody's meant to be a boss and all those things like that. I get it, but to have the opportunity and be taught those things early in school, your mentality and your drive might be different, other than just like, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to graduate, we're going to go to college and graduate and figure it out, you know. And as something that KRS once said, which is a true statement, he said, everything they teach us in college, they can teach us in high school and coming up, but they tax us because it's all about money. It's all about money. So, you know, the greed, man, is so terrible at times, man, that people are willing to do bad things to you just for the love of money. And that's my opinion. That's how I feel. But yes, indeed, I think business is something they need to teach people about business and money. Teach people about business and money, man. And this, I think everybody will be better. Everybody can get a piece of that gigantic pie because there's enough money for everybody. Every single person that there is out here, there's enough money for everybody, you know. So that's my answer, a business class.
Yeah, I'll have to have you back for a completely different episode because you're speaking, you know, some of the other stuff I like to get into about that 1%, you know, and how they like to keep us like distracted by all these other things and fighting amongst each other.
100%.
We focus on where the real issue is.
100%.
They lose that 1%, loses their power right away. But
100%.
That's a whole other episode.
Yes, indeed. Listen, I don't get into politics and stuff too much, man. But you know, I'm always paying attention. I'm always paying attention. Yes, indeed.
I'll have to send you some of my other stuff that YouTube didn't find appropriate for YouTube. You know?
Yeah, we listen, and we know about the with Chris knows, man, that YouTube is something else. But I'm trying to, you know, with my YouTube page, I'm trying to keep it a little, you know, not too wild, man. But it's all love, man.
yeah. Me and Chris are on the, you know, have talked about that as well.
Yes, sir.
And this one, hopefully, will be a little bit easier for you. But 3 people who've inspired you and you can credit for making you the person you are today.
I'm going to say my mother, most definitely. She was a person filled with love and respect and always, you know, let us know that we are important and that, you know, when you look at life and you look at people who have the biggest houses or the smallest houses, you don't know what's going on inside that house. You don't know what kind of life they are truly living because you don't have to have all the money in the world to be the happiest person in the world. You don't have to have all the, you know, material things to be this. She just let us know that all is great to have all those things, but just being a good person. And it's something that my brother Relentless from the band Vengeance, he and Hell B, something I roll with now. He said, we need more just good human beings in this world. And that's what I want to do my best to be the best human being that I can be. Once again, far from perfect. I fall very, very short from being perfect. I've done some things that you know I can't take back, but I'm definitely sorry for, you know, but I really, you know, my mom, 3 people. As far as music wise, I think my brother for just allowing me to be there to see it all, to really see all that was going on and inspire me to really want to do this, you know, because when you're there front and center and you're seeing these artists perform and you're seeing what's going on and you know, it in talking to them, it adds something. Quick thing, I remember Cosmo D from Nucleus telling me and my boy Greg, he said, I'm just like you. I just have more money than you. Yeah, I'm out here on this stage doing what I do. He said, I just have more money than you, but that doesn't make me better than you. That has stuck with me my entire life because it kind of just added on to what my mom was already saying. So Cosmo D, you know, but that's all in the, you know, my brother, because he brought them down. And man, just inspired. Yeah, you man. You are that dollar bill. You are that guy, man. That's good, man. I like to run my mouth, man. You got me really thinking hard. I'm just gonna say, just friendships, my military friendships, and thank my dad for being a military guy. So my military friendships, probably there's no doubt about that. My military friendships, still very important to me to this very day. I still have conversations with those same people that I grew up with on Fort Jackson, not from Fort Benning, not from Fort Riley, in which those were great places too, but Fort Jackson, South Carolina, still some of my very, very best friends, and they are brothers and sisters to me, and I got nothing but love for them. So they've always supported and always been there, and we can talk. We might not talk for months, but when we talk, just like yesterday. Just like with Rich and Bonz and all of the guys. And yeah, man. So I would say that my mom, my brother with the music, and my friendships from Fort Jackson, mom and dad, my dad too. But yeah, mom's really though. That's number one beyond thing, man. I miss my mom, love her, man. It's all up. Yeah.
Nice. And then this one, this one takes everybody back, but favorite toy as a child.
Can we say that on this podcast?
Before puberty.
I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to get it. My favorite toy as a child. As a child, we used to have, when we were young, we had a lot of things. I'm going to say, wasn't G.I. Joe's. I'm going to say like my Hot Wheels cars and tracks. That's I played a lot with the Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels were just amazing. Take them out, take all the orange tracks and release the thing. Hot Wheels. I'm telling you, 100% Hot Wheels was the best thing. That was the best toy in the world. Hot Wheels. I love Hot Wheels. Not Matchbox at the time. It was all about those Hot Wheels and that track and releasing that, having the tracks together, and then my brother and I releasing the things and see which one was going to win. Go down and turn and everything, and then the loops. Yeah, it was Hot Wheels. You ever had a spank? You ever been spanked with a Hot Wheel track? It'll get you right. It'll get you right.
I still got the brand, I think.
Ladies and gentlemen, we don't, we don't subscribe to that kind of lifestyle now, but we're just saying back in the day, there was a different kind of ass whipping. So it's all
yeah.
I love Hot Wheels.
They got hot. You got the Hot Wheels.
Yes.
And then we've been talking about our brothers and sisters in the military, but any message you have for those currently serving overseas?
Just so many people. I'm just so thankful for what is being done, and I know people say it all the time. Thank you for your service. And a person like me, I really mean it, because I've seen it from a different aspect, and seeing my dad be gone for a while, and seeing so many of my friends, my sisters, cousins, and everything that are in the military. I mean, when they talk about military strong, I've got a family that's military strong, and so many of those families that have brought so much to me. So we know that those guys are over there doing their thing to this way of life that we have. A lot of people might not want to understand that, but this way of life that we have is very, they're keeping that peace. They're keeping that peace for us. And, beyond the 9/11 stuff of people bringing stuff to us like that, we've lived a life that has been pretty good, man. I'm going to say pretty great. Not everything's perfect. We know that. But this life here, traveling to these other places, and you would know this also, traveling to these other places and to Europe and everything, beautiful. And everything's so old and amazing over there. But I will say, man, this being here in the United States is an amazing thing. And if everybody can get together and really, live to what the meaning of that Declaration of Independence and all those things like that, of what this is supposed to be, and if everybody can roll, yeah, we all have differences and all that stuff like that, man. But I'm so beyond the madness, I'm just me, and I'm thankful for how I was brought up as a military kid. So I know those people that are over there in the military, they have a different perspective of what life is, because their perspective is a life of togetherness. That's what that military teaches you, that's your brother, that's your sister. And so everything that they're doing, I'm so thankful, and I want everybody to get home safely and just be careful and just do your thing, man. Indeed. Much love to every single one of them. Every single one of them. Indeed.
Awesome.
Yeah,
man, Lord, it's been great talking with you. I'm so glad. I'm so grateful. Chris connected us, and this won't be the last time we talk for sure.
Love. We're good, man. We're good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and before I get ready and let you go and stuff, if the like I said, if there's fans that maybe getting new to you and what you're doing and what current projects and stuff like that, where would you send them?
Once again, they can find me on Live and Loud with the Lord. I'm going to talk about everything on the CMS network, with 5 Rose Entertainment. It's my company. But anywhere on Facebook, Plastic Catastrophe with Lord Nelson. Lord Nelson is out there. Facebook made you change the, Lloyd Nelson. If you go out there, I'm there on Facebook. But Lords and Legends on Instagram, and I'm on TikTok on Live and Loud with the Lord on TikTok. I'm just anywhere that you want to find this guy. If you put in Lord Nelson rapper, he's going to come up. I'm there. And so the Plastic Catastrophe with Lord Nelson, anytime that you put that in there, we're going to come up. We're there. As Shaq and a lot of them other would say, man, you better Google me, man. Google me. If you Google, I'll be there. And I'm receptive to the love. And when love is given to me, I always reciprocate, no doubt. So I thank every single person, once again, who has taken the time to enjoy your show, to enjoy my show, to come and just hang out with us, man. And just know that we're just having a great conversation, man. No need to worry. Come on in. As I say, no need to knock. Put your feet up and just relax. We're good to go. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Amen, man. Amen. And then one last favor before I let you go. You mind cutting a promo ID for the show? Just
of course, I'll do it. Yeah, of course, man.
Today's Boondoggle.
Okay. Just today's Boondoggle.
Yeah.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you know who it is. It is the Lord, and I am on today's Boondoggle. Yeah.
Nailed it. I knew I could count on you, man.
No, that's me, man. Listen, let me tell you what's so funny. So Scott Bowling, who is of course on our network too, on the network also. So I did Scott's show, and Scott's got like the primo show. I went down to his studio. It is amazing. I mean, everything is professional, cameras, staff, makeup, all of it. So I went down there. So, man, what's my man's name from Holy Catastrophe? I can't remember. Anyway, I can't remember his name now. I'm flipping trying to remember so he came in there and he saw me doing my thing. And so I was doing a promo for Scott. And so he was just like, man, I thought this guy was your he was your spokes guy. He was your whatever. He's like, nah, this Lord Nelson from Stuck Mojo. He's doing whatever. And so I did my promo because that's who I am. You give me something like that, I'm going to be me 100%. That's what I go into. Woo, I'm Lord Nelson mode. And so he said, you mean I got to come after him? He's just like, oh my gosh. But nah, man, that's just who I am. Just who I am. Just the dude I am, man. So it's all love, man.
Nice, man. Well, hey, man, it was good getting to know you today, and I will definitely stay in touch, Lord.
Of course, and so listen, if you would do me the favor too, this within the next couple of weeks, I know, say within 2 weeks or so, whenever you can do it, find the time. I want to have you on also. Let's get into your world, man. Let's promote you too. Let's do that.
I would be honored, man. Thank you so much.
Doubt. Indeed. So we'll work that out. Indeed.
Sounds good. Sounds good, man.
Hey, look, I appreciate it. Great time, bro. Great time.
Take care.
All right, you too. Be good. Tell your daughters to say hello. Yeah,
I will.
All right, man.
Bye-bye.
Peace.